Okay, so let's say you want to start configuring your rental management platform from scratch. Maybe maybe you have a trial of Rentrax. You don't know where to begin. Um, maybe so. I mean, if you don't want to just call us and ask for help, which you're more than welcome to do. Uh, I could just show you some of the common, settings, and I'm going to do like a boat rental business setup here, just as an example. But I think the concepts should transfer to pretty much any vertical. Um, so let's start just by rearranging some of the common settings. So the settings, in most software is represented by a gear. Rentrax is no different. Let's go to the business settings first. And let's check the business calendar here. So this is where you can set your open hours. So when, if you're thinking, oh man, I really need to solve the problem of, I can't be having people return items at all hours, pick your close time, and then Rentrax is smart enough to make sure nobody shows up too late. Or, I need to make sure nobody tries to pick up too early. This is where you fix that. So this solves that problem. You can also, you can set exceptions, like if you're going to be closed on a holiday or something, you can always close it there. So now let's take a look at, let's just reconfigure the front end. So let's take a look at some of the settings. So first, in the general settings, you probably want to have Rentrax automatically create an invoice for you on reservation. It's pretty unusual that people want to manually create their invoice. This would be like if you want some items to be on one invoice, some on the other. But pretty much always you want us to just automatically create that for you. Most of this stuff is fine as a default. If you're not sure about this, just call us. We want the system to automatically confirm the reservation. This is where you can either have Rentrax try and collect a security deposit or not. That's where you determine that. And I think that should be pretty much it for this screen. Okay, so let's take a look at order settings. So this is where you can say, where do you want customers to fill out their information? Do you want it to be before they pick their item or after? And there's a few schools of thought here. Sometimes a lot of people think, I want my customer to pick their items first to determine if it's available or not, and then they can fill out their information. Or, they can just fill out their information right away and then not have to worry about it for the rest of the booking. This is also where you can determine if the customer address is required or not. The less fields on your booking form, the higher the conversion. This is also where you can say, do you want there to just be a sign box at the bottom of the waiver, or do you want it to be the enhanced waiver? I have a specific video for the enhanced waiver that you can check out. So just to show this, I'll just leave it as like the regular sign box here. We should leave most of this, just leave as the defaults. If you have any questions, just call us. You do want to check the product availability. If you want to check the product availability, including like the sizing options, so like a 26-inch wheel versus a 24-inch wheel for the bikes, then you would say yes, considering options. But since this is a boat rental, we're just going to leave it as yes. In terms of the availability calendar, pretty much everybody wants to show that. So just flip that to yes. The rest of it is probably safe to leave it as default. You probably do want to offer reorders. There's pretty much no reason to not do this. And then you probably want multiple participants. So this is kind of where you ask yourself, do I want to collect a waiver for all the participants or just for the people who are going to be driving the car or the boat sort of thing? Usually it's multiple participants. For stuff like skis, it would just be like multiple renters. So since this is like a vehicle with a driver and many like passengers, we'd probably want multiple participants. But if it was, skis or bikes, it would be just multiple renters. So it's kind of based on your business. Renters attributes, we're going to leave it as required. I think we probably won't end up collecting this. This is really mostly used by our ski verticals. So ski customers would really get a lot of use as a renter's attributes. Now, in terms of credit card action, you should probably just charge the full amount. If you want to just take a deposit, sometimes that makes it easier to collect gratuity when people show up. Or, sometimes, especially if you have like a high ticket value reservation, like your reservation amounts are like $600 or more, maybe you just want to collect a deposit to keep that conversion high. But otherwise, it's probably safe to just charge the full amount up front. So that's what I'd recommend doing for all of these different types of bookings. Can skip credit card online? No. For walk-in, no. For back-end and phone, though, yes. We want staff to have the flexibility to skip the credit card and take some other form of payment later. And then the rest of it, just leave it alone. If you want to customize what the front end looks like, you can do that here. I'm just going to leave it alone for now. Actually, I guess I'll change it to the blue color because I like it better. Terms and conditions, this is where you can add your waiver. So you just basically copy and paste your existing waiver. If you want to have information like order number, and order date and the customer's name and everything, you can add those as parameters here. So I have a detailed video about the waivers, which you can check out. So that's the terms and conditions. Now, let's cover, so that's like the basic configuration that works for 85% of businesses. Now let's go ahead and check out our subcategories. So we go to this left menu here, we go to categories. So this is the customer-facing part of your inventory system. So you might want to, maybe you just want to delete some of this starter stuff here. You don't want it clogging up your front end. So you can delete some of it if you want to. Now we want to add our own category. So we can add like, Hobie boats. Create a category. Now we need to create a subcategory. Again. So this would be like a variant. So this would be like, you would have your bikes or even e-bikes, and then you have, e-bikes of a certain brand or variant, or like the old model versus the new model. So that's kind of the breakdown of a category versus subcategory, and every business is different. So basically just think about like what your customers, like what do your customers know about your product? Do they know that they want an exact type of ski typically, or do they generally know that they want, a performance ski, or are they more like, I want to know, like, I want a ski or a snowboard? Like, how general is that conversation that you typically have, and try to mirror that in your inventory structure here. So I've just created a Hobie boat. I'm going to click this gear here. I'm going to link it to the ski-based inventory. This is a boat, so it doesn't make sense to check the size. Otherwise, like if you wanted to have like the 24, 26 inch bike wheel size kind of thing, then you would click yes. But we're going to leave it as no for now. Since this is going to be a ski-based inventory, the quantity can stay at 0. But if you just have like a basic thing, like picnic chairs or something, most of the time businesses with that kind of inventory, they're okay just managing their inventory in pools. So you can just have a pool of inventory and then uncheck ski base. So this would be like a chair configuration, or this kind of combination here, this 20 and the unchecked ski box. This would be like if you don't want to keep track of inventory item by item. But in this case we do. So we're going to leave that as 0, and we're going to leave it as ski based. and then we're going to click Save. So now that that's all set, let's add some pricing. So something you notice here, there's this dollar sign here. This means that this item has pricing attached to it, so it'll automatically calculate based on the duration. Whereas this one doesn't. So there's no dollar sign here, which means it'll calculate as a $0 price. Now, before we set the pricing, I think it probably makes sense to set some durations. So there's kind of a question that you need to answer here. So the question is the majority of your offerings or the majority of your rentals sub-daily, so between 1 and 24 hours, or multi-day, so more than 1 day? If the answer is more than 1 day, then you can skip this next part. The default setting will do. However, if you answered, well, most of my rentals are sub-daily, so like 8 hours, 6 hours, 4 hours, then I would recommend, this is not necessary, but I would recommend going to this time and durations here, and then maybe adding some different durations. So this is kind of how you enforce. This is how you get Rentrak to enforce minimum duration times. So let's do like 1 hour, 2 hours, just be a duration, 2 hours. And we'll just create a few of these so that we can, when we set our pricing tiers, we have like a reasonable amount of tiers to actually work with, so you guys can see what's going on. So we'll just we'll create this 4 hour, and then we'll do also a 6 hour and an 8 hour. So there's our 6 hour, and then we can do an 8 hour. And so now we have that all set. We need to tell Rentrak to use this instead of the default settings. So again, we have to go back to our activity settings, go back to our order settings here. This is where we were with all those options before. So we want to say the rental period options will be start and duration instead of start and finish. Sometimes people leave their backend as start and finish to give their staff more flexibility. This would be like start and finish would be more like I have multi-day rentals, lots of multi-day rentals. And then start and duration would be like I have more hourly rentals. Another thing you could do is you could change the order time unit to the day instead of hours if you have mostly multi-day rental, but then you would lose like the exact time that the customer is going to show up in the store. So pretty much everybody leaves this on hour, even if their rental period is usually multi-day. So let's go to the pricing tiers. So this is actually pretty simple to set up. You can create a new pricing tier like Hobie Boats. Click the edit button. And we want to set this to be integer hours probably. And then I would recommend probably leaving all of these settings as default except enable the stop calculation at plan finish. Now this will mean that Rentrak doesn't attempt to calculate late fees, basically. It lets you add your own late fee, and you don't have to kind of undo some of the stuff that the system tries to do for you. So pretty much everybody has this enabled. If you have taxes, you can apply them here. That is to say, if your state or province taxes rentals, everybody has taxes, of course, unfortunately. Actually, you want to set this to plan, set that to enabled. Most of this other stuff you can ignore. If you have a reservation fee that you want to charge, this would be where you set it. This instance doesn't have a reservation fee. We're just collecting full payment up front. So This setting won't do anything, but if you want to take a deposit, this would be where you set the deposit um, on a particular item or subcategory. So let's go to the pricing table. So now we've done most of the hard work already. We just have to create, this will be from 0 minutes to 1 hour. Then we have 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Then we jump to 6 hours. Then we have 8 hours. And let's say this is $29, $39, $49, $59, $79, and $99. And let's just set this all to be flat. So basically what this is saying is 1 hour rental, $29, 2 hours, $39, 3, $49, etc., etc. So this is probably how most people set up their pricing tier. But I mean, if you just have like a flat $20 an hour rate, then you would set it to, per hour, set this to 20, and then set, every extra hour on as $20 on top of that. So it's pretty simple. If you get stuck with this, there are a few different combinations and permutations on this screen. So if you get stuck, just call us. We'll be able to help you out real quick. And then finally, we have to remember to assign this pricing tier to the right subcategory so that the pricing calculates properly. Now, there's only one thing left to do, which is to actually create some SKUs to be able to assign. So let's go to the rental products tab up here and click the new product button here. We're going to need to add a Hobie boat of a particular variant. Set your SKU. Rentrex can turn this SKU into a barcode for you. So I guess what this means is if you have a bunch of barcodes, enter whatever the barcodes encode kind of here in the SKU field here. Otherwise, you can enter whatever SKU you want, and then Rentrex can generate some barcodes for you that you can take to Staples or something to get labels printed and then stick it on your boats or bikes or skis or what have you. In this case, the Hobie boats don't have size, so we're going to ignore that for now. And then we're going to call this, I don't know, the Enterprise. I will say that this one is a red one, I don't know, onboard, barbecue, what have you. Let's create a second one, just so we have a couple things to work with. So the SKUs have to be unique. Call this Hobie 2, and we'll say that this is blue, and we'll click save. So now, if we check our rent order list and go to create a new reservation, we can see that we have 2 Hobies because we created 2 of them. We can pick one of the durations. I can't do a 6 or 8 hour duration because we set our business hours correctly, so it closes at 8 o'clock. So we'll just do like a 3 hour rental.